taken by this feeling, baby, we're invincible.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode and a brand new season of Rebuilding Notts County. Hopefully, could be our last. I feel confident about it, but I'm also not confident because there's something else that's happened. Although it's just one thing, it's already got the fires of fury just being stoked a little bit in the background there. So more on that in a minute. I thought we'd start on the finances so you can see that we're still very, very solvent, which is good. We've got 175 mil in the bank. Obviously our transfer budget, which was 100 and, well, that's clearly not true. It was 110 million for those of you wondering. And we had a decent amount of wage budget too. So things are going all right in that sense. We had, obviously Itach won Young Player of the Year in the Premier League, I think, which makes sense. He was a bloody good player for us last year, and hopefully he can carry that on this year. One of the things we had a discussion in the analysis video last night was about the idea of maybe using Rincon instead of Guerra, because actually he might be better for the role and just needs the game time to make that work. So I've been trying them both out in friendlies, alternate, to see who's actually going to perform better in that role. And I started Rincon in the Charity Shield final, and that game was the biggest mess of FM nonsense I've ever seen. Thankfully, it was a Charity Shield final, so it didn't matter that much. Nothing Rincon could have done would have fixed it, but my God, I'd like to think that that's all our bad luck out the way in one game for the entire season. Fingers crossed, eh, lads? But the main sort of conclusion we came to is that we wanted to build another backup centre midfielder and to try to sign a first-class centre-back. I scouted every single centre-back from every single major club and national team in the summer, and I didn't find a single one that was rated at more than 3.5 stars. To give you an idea of how good our current centre-backs actually are, and the lack of an amazing one in the league, in the whole game right now. There just doesn't seem to exist one right now, which is very, very interesting. I also got new contracts for Dubois and Asman, so they will sign them at the end of the season, but they have tied themselves down, and I think they thoroughly deserve them, particularly Remy Dubois, who's been an absolute, mainstay in this team for about the last 10 years nearly now. What a ledge. For £1.2 million to now what he is. And also, sad news, Everton lost the Champions League final to Real Madrid 2-1. They took the lead as well and then threw it away in the second half as Manesco, I think, scored a brace, or it might have been Oscar Lopez. Can't remember. It was someone scored a brace for Real Madrid to turn it around, which means in the last 3 of the last 4 seasons now, we've been knocked out by the team that won the Champions League. We really do need to get a bit of better luck, and hopefully this year it will just happen. My God. So without any further ado, we may as well jump straight into things with some outs. I think there is only one major out though, and that is Elias Maloleki. He's moved to Bournemouth for £17.5 million. I thought it was a reasonable deal to do at the time. He's done well out on loan at Cincinnati and Basel, but he was never going to quite be what we needed up front for us. So I thought for £17 million, Bournemouth are welcome to him. They've sold a lot of players recently, so it's just a chance for us to get a bit more money in. Not that we really needed it, because we have other players, of course, joining us. But I must say, our transfers in have not exactly been plentiful either, because we really... I wasn't just going to spend the money willy-nilly, although I feel like I may have done that anyway. So Mahamadou Abakar, of course, you saw him last season. He has now joined us. He's under a bid for a loan spell to, I believe, move to Toronto FC for a little bit. Not sure if I'm going to accept that or not. We'll have to see. There's a few other players that might go out on loan. Damgard, maybe, but Sundagor, definitely, and also Marash. But we're keeping Juan Tirso this season. We've had a bid from Bayern of 52 million for him, which we turned down. So, yeah, we're going to try and also play a 4-4-2 against teams that play 4-4-2s, potentially, just to see if that works as well, to maybe get Aslami in as a deep line forward, and then drop back to have slightly deeper wingers, move the fullbacks back to being actual fullbacks rather than wingbacks. Just mess around like that for a little bit, and Tirso could be very useful on that left-hand side for us if we play a 4-4-2, because I don't really want an inside forward in it. But we did get some midfield backup. This is Vava. He's come in from Corinthians over in Brazil. £24 million, I believe, was the deal. He's just sort of another option in that central midfield role. I've had him on my my shortlist for a while. The release clause was there, and I thought, you know what, for that kind of money, we may as well give it a crack. Bring him in for a little bit, see what he can do. He's not going to be starting for us. He's just to give us a bit more support, because if Asman was to get injured and we lost some players in the midfield, we really would be relying on Piszczek, and I wanted to make sure that we had some players beyond that. So that's now what we've got with the likes of Vava, who can actually play in that role. He's not fantastic for it, but he'll do a decent job as a Metsala, and I kind of wanted a backup guy in that role too, since Piszczek is definitely more of a deep-lying playmaker type of thing. So, but this is not where the main money went. The big money this summer went on Dagger Ingi Vilbergson. We got him. So essentially, what happened here was I scouted, like I said, every single centre-back at every major club that I could find. And he was essentially the best. There was one guy at Spurs who would have cost way more money because he'd only just joined them last season. And I don't think he was actually that bad. Now, the one thing about Vilbergson is that he's not the tallest and he isn't even that fast and his heading isn't great. But he has so good attributes for other areas. He's got great marking and tackling, which is excellent. But his anticipation, bravery, concentration, decisions, positioning, all those kind of key, sensible centre-back stuff are very, very high. It's cost us 70 million, 40 up front, 30 over 3 years to sign him from Real Madrid. And he is a 3.5-star player. He was 4 stars at the time, and he was the only one that even stuck his head above the parapet as to being better than what we actually had. And I thought, you know what? Screw it. We've got this money. We may as well go and get world class. And it's good because I've talked about this guy for many, many years, about the Icelandic sounding Spaniard, and now here he is in a Notts County shirt at the end of the day. It's the perfect situation for me to have the obscure regen player who's finally joined us. I think he actually came through at Real Madrid, which is what makes that even more special. Went to Napoli on loan for a bit. He's played for Real Madrid a reasonable amount, but hopefully this year he could be a stalwart for us at the back. But both he and Jespersen are going to miss our first league game of the season because he's got blisters, and Jespersen, I think he twisted his ankle in training a couple of weeks ago. So we're probably going to have to go with Uranis and VKB, which is not a bad thing. VKB's just got his national team call up as well. So it's not the end of the world. And that literally ends the transfers. Now, one other thing I wanted to quickly talk about. I mentioned this again in the analysis video last night, but I did a simulation test where I turned on a load of leagues and I simmed in the end overnight 42 years, which was surprisingly a lot. I wanted to just see if I could find any interesting scenarios because I want to do another March to Safety series like I did with Liverpool, where I find a big club that's about to get relegated and save them with 8 games to go in March. That's the joke. And firstly, there was nothing because the database, nothing changes anymore. As someone pointed out, 42 years into the save, 18 of the 20 Premier League sides that start in the Premier League are still there. Leeds is the other one that joined, who have been up in the Premier League for a while, and West Brom, who came up this season, along with Bristol City, I might add. So they won the playoff final. So that's kind of cool, I suppose. But moreover than that, none of the big 6 were ever really finishing outside of the top 8. So that made it interesting, didn't it? And moreover than that, out of the 42 titles, City won 20, City won 18, United won 20, and Chelsea won the other 3. Why is this suddenly happening in FM? There used to be a case where you'd always see weird stuff happening in saves, because that's what happens in football. Football is weird like that. But now it just feels like FIFA, where it's like the teams are rigidly supposed to stay in the same position every year. And it kind of makes me sad, because I do miss that kind of variety you used to get on old FMs, and I do kind of wonder what's changed. And if anyone knows of a database that somehow makes that not be like that, then do let me know, because I really want to find some stuff like that, and it just doesn't look like it's going to happen, unfortunately. And that was with a load of leagues turned on as well to allow for transfers and stuff. I just don't know what to do about it anymore. It's a shame. So, now to talk about the Charity Shield final and my molten rage. So we lost 6-1. 6-1. They had 7 shots on target and they scored 6 goals. I legitimately could not believe it. And one of them was a penalty as well. So they did have 3 chances on the night. No, sorry, 2 chances on the night. Sorry, this is what I mean. We had a couple of chances as well, as you can see. 3 half chances, I believe we ended up having. They did have a clear-cut chance, which was the penalty, of course. But this is ridiculous. They scored all but 1 shot that they had on target. The other one was a long shot, which was comfortably saved by Suarez. I just don't know what to say anymore when you see stuff like that. It was just like every shot they had just went straight in, no matter what you did. And the players would just dribble straight past you. I don't know, one of those weird games, but my God. I didn't want to start. I couldn't imagine having a worse start to the season than losing the Charity Shield 6-1, where they scored virtually every shot they had. But that's life sometimes. I'm going to stop ranting about it now. Hopefully today things will improve, though, as we go away to Brighton. We do have a 4-4-2 in place. We're not going to use it against Brighton, because I don't think they play one, but we're going to see how it goes, I suppose. So, naturally, things have started off fairly well for the usual culprits. Arsenal win 5-0, although we did beat Arsenal 5-0 in a friendly. Which was kind of interesting. And we also beat Watford very comfortably while playing a 4-4-2 to battle theirs out. So there's definitely some good news there. So we'll talk about that in a second, actually. So we're playing Brighton in the late kickoff today. Simone Inzaghi is the Brighton manager. We might do another little Premier League manager rundown after this, if I remember. Because we're probably going to have a little bit of time, just because there's been a decreased amount of transfers to talk about, really. So what I've done is I've dumped a load of our transfer budget into bonuses for the players. It just might give them a little bit of a boost. So what are Brighton actually going to line up like tonight? So they're going with a standard sort of approach similar to ours, which means we should be fine just playing our normal strategy. So I'll sort this out first, and then we'll go and talk about the squad and the other tactic I've been sort of working on in the interim. I mainly set it up early doors. I played it against any team that played a 4-4-2, and then I made a little change to it because it didn't quite sit right for me. So this is what we've done. It's called that because I just imported it from the other one and then moved it around. So it's a positive approach, has a deep lying forward, wingers on attack, which is fine, both central midfielders on support. I had a look at other 4-4-2s of teams we were playing against, and they generally use a deep line playmaker and a Met Salah, so I'm alright with that. I moved one of the fullbacks back Although I'm tempted to maybe move Fernandez back as well. So they're no longer wing-backs, they're just standard full-backs. And we've got an advanced forward and then a deep-lying forward, which will be filled by Islami when we need to use this tactic, essentially. So that's sort of the plan going forward there. As for this, I've turned this off entirely because I really don't know where the best course of action is for a 4-4-2. So I just kind of left it blank for now. Everything else is kind of relatively the same. In fact, I believe most of it's relatively the same. But it worked against Watford in a friendly. We won 4-0 and were very, very nice indeed. Islami did a really nice job of holding the ball up, and I do think that's very important. Because we could do Rincon and Guerra as two advanced forwards, but I just don't think that would really suit us in a 4-4-2. So when we come up against 4-4-2s, we're going to try and match them shape-wise, and then just try and beat them pound for pound, so they're not going to be able to create overloads against us. Because I really do think that was what was causing us a lot of problems last year, was big teams in the big matches playing those 4-4-2s against us, and just being able to get overloads in key areas. And I do still think there was an element of luck to it as well. That we should not have lost 5-1 to Real Madrid. No chance. I'm hoping that our morale hasn't taken too much of a hit from that last game, but it did seem like just one of those very... And we've had them before. I do remember a time when we scored our first 4 shots in a game. David Ferguson scored a brace. I always bring it up. I think it was against Bristol City in the Championship, but I've not seen anything like that for ages. They scored 6 of their 7 shots on target. I actually can't get over that. Quite simply, today must be better. And I think, you know, slightly weaker backline today with VKB and Uranis in there, but they're both very good players. Did I not do a... Oh, shit. I'm an idiot who started with that system instead of this one. And I also forgot to put back in players who were supposed to start that shouldn't have. So that is a really massive oversight on my part. I knew I should have paid more attention. So we're switching back to the proper system, but Unger's going to be on the bench. We had a few players that were lacking fitness starting at the season. So they're going to be on the bench for today. So yeah, we're going to have to make do, which is a bit frustrating. Hopefully it won't cost us too much. We'll see. Uh-oh, this doesn't bode well. It's already doing that thing where they miss out on headers. Brian have started very strongly, which is concerning. Eye touch. What's the betting we'll lose 4-0 because of the whole slight change, and John Carlson is in, and Daggy Inga Vilbergersen has scored his first ever goal for Notts County in only, what I believe is his second appearance for the club. We got very fortunate there. We've not played well so far, but it is early days, I suppose. Lovely ball from Eye touch. Nice attempt from John Carlos, and it's just deflected off the goalkeeper back to Vilbergersen, and he scored. Hey, looking a bit more in control. Thankfully, we got the early goal, which was very fortunate, I should say. That's the first bit of luck we've had for a while. Jean Carlos. Can he bend one? Or blocked? Beckhart will get there. Okay, we've really turned this game on now. Jean, oh, we're looking a lot better. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing from him today. He's getting into good positions. He's harrying people. He's doing all kinds of good stuff. Nice work again. What we're looking for is those balls over the top for Rincon. He's got that extra level of composure and particularly anticipation that I believe is going to create excellent opportunities. But we'll see. We'll make some changes in the second half to bring on the lads who I would have actually started. So Campbell, possibly Unger, depending on how well De Los Santos is doing. Although I'm liking what I'm seeing from him so far. God, they get forward so easily. De Los Santos, nearly a good flick on. So half time, we started poorly, grew into it, and then got poorer again. Interesting. But I'd say there's still a lot more to come. We've got to be better than this. A 1-0 lead is very, very tight. But I do feel like Vilbergersen has got an excellent chance to be an excellent centre-back for us. Those mental attributes could be the difference for him in a lot of these big games. Not that this is a big game, but like they'll be certainly helpful. He's one tackle. And Jean Carlos, right. Now he's got Rincon. Rincon's got better dribbling as well, and he'll use it more. He's in. Go on. Tight angle, good save. Like, that was a difficult chance for him, but he still managed to get the shot away, which is nice. We've really not played well. We haven't been that much better than we were against Manchester United, to be honest. Brighton have been a lot better than us in many areas of this match, and we're very fortunate to be in front. Just every time, man. I touched to deliver one this time. Headed away. Beckhart will probably ping one top bins now, I expect. Campbell. Round the side for Vilbergersen, he's gone for it again. Imagine if he'd scored twice. Okay, I touched with another corner. He's going to be on deliveries a lot with Guerra not being in the team so much. And Dubois! If we win this, I would say we were very fortunate to do so. Frankly. Right, Acevedo. Wanted to give him a bit of a chance as well. Edge of the box for Beckhart. He's going to thunder it. You know he's going to thunder it. Oh, dear. What was that? From a guy that normally pings them. That was very subdued. But at least we're getting first to these balls now. Rincon. Options left and right. He's just going to go straight through, isn't he? Oh, blocked again. There's a lot of shots blocked against United too, which annoyed me. Oh, Dubois with a long shot. No. Somebody. Lever. What? Why would that... Oh, my God. Why would he leave it and then just let it go out of play? We are looking like we're going to get the victory, but it's going to be an incredibly tight one unless they ping one in here. Campbell clears. Rincon, breakaway chance. Go on, lad. He's got an overlap now. He's still got it. He can knock this inside, perhaps. Ah, he's lost it, but that should do it still. There we go. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Notts County 1. A very, very difficult first game of the season. We made it very, very hard for ourselves. A draw would have been much fairer for me, but we got the result, which is important. And kept a clean sheet, which is fair, but we've got to be better than that. And I think as we start to bed in, hopefully that will change. But I don't know. The same stuff I saw against Manchester United, with the same players and tactic as last season, look very, very different. They're just not winning the headers anymore. Getting second to every ball all of a sudden. We've really got to change that, and I don't know what to do because nothing has changed. But we'll see. But on the plus side, New Boy did a good job and he did score a goal and looked pretty competent at the back. So I'll take that at least. Hopefully, we can start to figure some stuff out as we get further into the season. It might just be like growing pains, as we often do have a lot of defeats towards the start of the year, I find. So, obviously, next episode is going to be Champions League group stage. But of course, when we find out who we're actually going to play in it, which would be kind of interesting. So we've got Bournemouth, West Brom and Everton. 3 consecutive home matches, which I really think we need to win all 3 of to go on to 12 points going into that Spurs away game. And if we do so, I think we'll be in a good spot. But we've got to play better than we did in that match away at Brighton, to be honest. We played a lot better at the end of last season than we did then. Maybe it's because of the tactical switches during the match. It does tend to mess things up. But regardless, we got the win. So if you've enjoyed this episode and you're looking forward to the new season, hopefully will be the one where we finally pull it off. Drop a like on the video, that'd be awesome. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, that'd be great too, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. And as always, hold your gun, capybara. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.